Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd really appreciate your comment. It helps me understand if you enjoyed the story and how I can improve in future ones. I'm Ryan Mercer, 36, project manager in Minneapolis. Tuesday night, underground garage, one hand on a grocery bag, the other on a stapler with a missing cap from the office. That tiny blue cap rolling under my car is the image that sticks. Not a blow-up, just a feeling that the air inside our place had thinned out. Jenna used to hand me her phone to show me a dumb video, laugh into my shoulder, ask if we should do tacos or pasta. Lately the phone lived face down like it needed privacy more than we did. She'd tap in a new passcode, 4 digits became 6, then face a D, call it digital hygiene, and smile over the top edge of the screen instead of into my eyes. Our routines frayed first. Sunday pancakes went missing for 2 straight weeks, then 3. She slept till noon, said her stomach felt off, scrolled in silence. We had a thing where she'd steal my hoodies and I'd pretend to be annoyed. Those started coming back folded like returns. Small returns. The long drive became her answer to everything. Need anything from Target? She'd already gone. Want to walk by the river? She was meeting a friend on the other side of town. The friend rotated names, Kim one day, a girl from Pilates the next. When I offered to pick her up, she waved it off, said she'd grab a lift because parking is a mess. She doesn't drink much, but she came home twice smelling like she'd sat under a Negroni. We never had shared finances, but the house stuff ran through my card. Wi-Fi, Netflix, the water bill. I started seeing the pattern from the timestamps more than the charges. 12:08 a.m., my router usage spiking while she sat in the dark on the couch. 1:43 a.m., our door camera catching the entry, her whispering at the lock like she didn't want the deadbolt to rat her out. Language shifted next. We used to be a we. We should go up north, or we can try that pizza place. Now it was, I might be out Friday. I'll see what I feel like. Every sentence had a soft exit built into it. If I asked for specifics, I got the gentle scold. Please don't interrogate me. I had asked what time she wanted dinner. Online got louder while we got quieter. She posted reels about boundaries and choosing yourself. In her stories, quotes in minimalist fonts said things like, "If he trusts you, he doesn't ask." Not aimed at me by name, but the timing was a highlighter. Under comments with fire emojis and "Yes, bestie," my name sat there like a code on the back of a chair. It wasn't just the phone and posts. It was 100 plain artifacts. A shiny new case with a pop socket I hadn't seen. A mirror selfie where the necklace I bought last year was replaced by something thin and new. 2 drink rings on the nightstand when she said she met Kim for coffee. A Lyft receipt to a bar I know doesn't serve pour-overs. At first I did what men my age do when things feel off. I tightened bolts. I vacuumed. I kept the fridge stocked. I picked up her favorite seltzer without being asked. It changed exactly nothing. If anything, the better I ran the machine, the less she seemed to notice it was running. I made one light ask about the new passcode. She laughed and kissed my cheek, said, "You watch too many Reddit videos." I don't. The only thing I watch too much is our router admin page at 2 a.m. because sleep won't come if curiosity keeps tapping the glass. Her friends became a chorus I never auditioned for. Group chats dinged her phone while we ate. She'd smirk at a meme I couldn't see, turn the screen away, and tell me I'm overthinking social stuff. I'm a project manager. Overthinking is the reason buildings don't fall down. The apartment changed temperature. She set the thermostat lower when I was home, swore it was a money thing, wore a sweater when I reached for her. On Thursdays she started doing book club, then corrected herself. Not a book club, more like a circle. I asked what they read. She said they didn't read, they supported. I kept myself out of detective mode. No covert GPS tags, no scrolling through her iPad. I know guys who go looking and still don't like what they find. I wanted my footing, not a smoking gun. So I started with small, quiet rebuilds that didn't need an announcement. First, I made a new folder in my cloud drive labeled Docs, Personal, dragged scans of my passport, birth certificate, and car title into it, and closed the lid. Second, I turned off location sharing with her and replied to my brother's text about grabbing a beer. He noticed I'd been MIA. I asked myself where I was still too available. Our shared Google Calendar auto-populated my phone with her circle nights, her hair appointments, a Pilates workshop. I split the calendars and toggled off hers. When she missed that change a week later and double-booked my Thursday with her sister's dinner, the conflict didn't land on me. It landed in her texts. I moved her from my work emergency contact to my brother. No malice, just tree off. If I ended up in a hospital, I wanted a voice that would pick up the phone and get to me without checking a group chat first. I pulled the admin login on the Wi-Fi out of the junk drawer and changed it from the default. Our internet didn't need to be a community garden with the neighbor's kids squatting on it again, and I didn't feel like troubleshooting midnight outages for people who weren't in my lease. 2 boxes went into my trunk. One had winter gear I wasn't using yet. The other had a legal pad with 3 columns. Must keep, can replace, only mine. Thinking on paper so my brain would shut up at night. Her tone added a new note, mild condescension. You're so schedule-bound, she said when I suggested we hit the farmer's market at 9 so we'd beat the crowd. You make everything a project, she said when I laid out the parts for a cabinet we both wanted for months. I tightened the bolts, slid the drawers in, and asked no one how it looked. At a friend's birthday, I watched her set her phone on the table, screen up, bold text previewing a message from a name I didn't recognize with a sparkle emoji at the end. She flipped it over without reading it and laughed at something across the room. On the drive home, she critiqued my parking. I checked my own behavior for clinginess. I wasn't chasing. I wasn't stacking questions. I was present, calm, steady. I gave her space and discovered she liked it enough to stretch it like elastic. Elastic only works one way for so long. 2 weeks into the drift, a mutual friend DM'd me a photo from a venue I hadn't heard her mention. Not scandalous. Just a grainy shot of a back booth and 2 highball glasses. He asked, "Did y'all go?" I said, "She did." I stopped filling in the blanks for her. If she said, "I'll be late," I didn't ask how late. I made my own plans. Gym, a burger place with a TV over the bar, early nights. When she came home to a dark living room and a made bed, I could see the confusion. The difference between being ignored and not being waited on is visible if you know what you're looking at. One night, she posted a story, a carousel of quotes about sovereignty and not performing softness for men. I watched it through once, put my phone down, and rolled a pair of socks into the only mine box in the trunk. I wasn't angry. I was taking inventory. I kept the balcony plants alive. I answered emails. I met deadlines. I didn't bring up counseling. The next time she said, "Don't be weird about my phone," I said, "I'm not." And that was the end of the conversation. Some endings are quiet. Certainty hadn't arrived. Suspicion didn't need help. What I had were artifacts, shifts, and a list of small boundary moves that felt like tightening a backpack before a hike. Nothing dramatic, nothing public. Just the kind of prep you do when the weather changes and you don't pretend it's still summer. By the time the loud thing finally happened, I wasn't caught flat-footed. I was standing, wallet and keys where I left them, documents backed up, spine straight. Whatever the post said when it came across my screen, the decision wouldn't be written there. It would be written here, in the way the air had thinned for weeks, and I'd already learned to breathe on my own. The week after I split the calendars and changed the Wi-Fi admin, the small stuff sharpened. Her replies got shorter, her laughs louder on calls I wasn't part of. At home, she went quiet around me and chatty everywhere else. Money left fingerprints. We don't share accounts, but my Amazon, Hulu, and rideshare lived on her phone from convenience days. Tuesday night, Uber receipts lit my email while her book club ran late. Pickups nowhere near a library, drop-offs nowhere near home. I removed my card without comment and forwarded the receipts to a folder called Paper Trail. She posted a beige story. Privacy isn't secrecy. 10 minutes later, my boundaries aren't up for debate. In person, she pecked my cheek and said, "Don't be weird about my phone." I wasn't. I was watching patterns. One asked once. Friday, while we made coffee in parallel like roommates, I said it plain. "Are we still exclusive?" No tone or trap. She stared at the kettle and said, "Labels make me feel controlled." That wasn't an answer. I didn't ask again. Action replaced questions. I paused the streaming profiles I pay for on her devices, set up a new email on the household utilities, and split the bill into 2 invoices. I texted her a screenshot and 1 line. "Here's your half, due on the 1st. No argument, just a thumbs-down reaction. A mutual friend DM'd a blurry photo from a comedy club. Not scandalous, but the body language wasn't mine. I closed the app and scheduled time with our property manager to ask about sublets and move-out procedures. Subject line, lease options and timelines. Pressure got indirect. Her best friend, podcast quotes like scripture, commented on my 5K post. We love a man who trusts. I archived it and ran my miles. At dinner, she tried the mirror trick. You're acting distant. I looked at the pot I was straining. I'm giving you the freedom you said you needed. We ate without sauce. Her phone habits drifted into the open. New ringtone. Face ID fails. A lock screen preview from a first name with a rocket emoji and CUTMRW. I don't do surveillance. I do logistics. I set up a P.O. box near work, filed mail forwarding on the accounts under my name, and rerouted packages to the office. HR switched my life insurance beneficiary to my brother. 6 minutes, one less wait. We had a weekend plan, North Shore, Trail Pie. She texted at 11:41 p.m. Rain check? Girls' night. I replied once. Already canceled the cabin, refund to my card. I booked the time for myself and slept through her 1:19 a.m. door click. Her circle stress-tested me in public. Subtweets with faux wisdom captions. A shared post about men who drain your glow. At a backyard thing, she teed up a joke about my spreadsheets for everything. I stacked plates and took out trash. Another money slip. An Apple Pay ding tied to my account at a tapas place we usually do together. 2 entrees at 10:36 p.m. on a Monday. We'd removed my card the week prior, but old devices remember what people forget. I disputed the charge and nuked every cached payment method from every shared service. She tried accusation next. You're controlling the vibe. She pointed at the utilities screenshot and the neat stack of mail. This is aggressive. Some people think a boundary is an attack because chaos is all they've practiced. I went back to my laptop. I toured a studio 6 blocks away. White walls, thin carpet, a slice of sky. The manager asked how soon. Just gathering info, I said, and left with a lockbox code and a copy of the lease. It fit in my pocket like a key. I limited availability. No driving her to circles. No waiting up. I stopped covering for her with mutuals. Is Jenna with you? Someone asked. No idea, I said. Honesty, not heat. Stonewalling turned to projection. You're different, she said in the car. I am, I said. She wanted a fight to prove I cared. I gave her calm to show I chose. I cut noise. Less scrolling, more sleep, a clean diet for a week. When she texted trial space, with a winky face, I didn't ask what that meant. Take all the space you need, I replied. Then I moved my toiletries into a DOP kit and set it on the dresser like a suitcase that hadn't been zipped. Another indirect push came from her cousin. She just needs reassurance. Years of polite training said I should subsidize someone else's uncertainty. I wrote, hope she finds it, and muted the thread. 2 clear boundary moves ended the week. I canceled the Spotify family I pay for and converted mine to a solo plan. Music is personal, so are bills. Then I moved apartment autopays off my card and onto separate invoices with her email copied. If she wanted independence, she could have it line itemed. By then the apartment felt staged. 2 toothbrushes like props. Hangers with more space. The plant turning its leaves toward the street. I set wallet, keys, and a thumb drive with documents in a shallow bowl by the door. A go bowl. At a brunch I didn't plan to attend, her friend looked over sourdough and said, healthy women need freedom. Healthy men too, I said, and finished my coffee. Jenna laughed, but there wasn't much air in it. On the way home, she posted about choosing peace over explanations. I didn't like it, screenshot it, or send it to anyone. I folded laundry and set aside the pieces that were only mine. The pressure wasn't a blow, it was a grip. You feel it most when you stop negotiating with it. By Monday, my calendar blocks were named for what they were. Lease, P.O. box, utilities, walkthrough. I worked my job, did my miles, and stopped narrating any of it to the person asking for trust while refusing to answer the only question I'd asked. When the next public line landed where everyone could see it, I was at my desk. The difference was simple. This time, I'd already made my moves. It lands at 12:14 p.m. Blue background Facebook status with sparkles, her favorite template for vague philosophy. If he trusted me, he wouldn't care who I text. 24 likes in 10 minutes. 2 preach comments. 1 period. I don't DM. I don't argue. I don't call. I take a screenshot, save it to a folder labeled paper trail, and hit share on her post with one line, "I don't have to workshop. Trusting you to enjoy your new single life." No subtext. Facts only. Then I mute the thread and put my phone face down for the first time in weeks, because the conversation is over. Actions follow the sentence like a checklist I built for this hour. I open the email from the studio manager 6 blocks away, sign the lease digitally, and get the lockbox code. The timestamp will matter later. I book a rideshare back to the apartment and walk in with a grocery bag and a steady heart rate. The room looks staged. It's been staged for weeks. Packing takes 30 minutes because I already decided what I own. 2 suitcases, clothes, documents, the hard drive with tax returns. 1 box for the houseplant I actually water. The cast iron pan she never learned to clean goes in a tote. I leave the decorative pillows and the performative throw blanket folded exactly how she likes it. Respectful exit, not a raid. I put her mail in a neat band on the entry table. I set my spare key in a small envelope labeled return and slide it under the door on my way out. Before I close it, I take 4 photos: bedroom, kitchen, living room, thermostat. Metadata turned on, date and time burned into the fax. No commentary attached. Downstairs, I text the property manager. Effective today, I surrender my portion of possession. Utilities unbundled as discussed. Please schedule walkthrough for common areas I furnished. It's not a threat. It's a timestamp. I CC Jenna's email and say, router admin, water, and trash will be invoiced separately. I attach the spreadsheet with her columns highlighted. She called boundaries aggressive. I call them receipts. On the sidewalk, the car pulls up. The driver says nothing. My phone, unmuted for 2 minutes, starts to light like a pinball machine. Texts from mutuals, and the kind of comments people post when a mask slips, and they can't decide which side they're on. I don't read them. My hands are busy with a plant and a pan. At the studio, I climb 3 flights, find the lockbox, and step into a room with a window and a slice of sky. The carpet is thin and honest. I place the plant on the sill and the pan on the stove, hang 2 shirts, and set my wallet, keys, and lease on the counter. Then I open my laptop and do the public part cleanly. Status, single. Audience, friends. Caption, moving today. Please send any mail to the P.O. box on my profile. Logistics only. No dragging or screenshots beyond her words about trust. If anyone wants the why, they can read what she wrote and do the math I'm not doing for them. A mutual sends a DM with her comment thread under my share. Half of it is inspirational misdirection. The other half is people who know us and pretend they don't. One of her friends writes, "This is between you two." That's the point. She put it between the 2 of us and everyone else when she posted. I brought it back to 2 by leaving. I email HR, beneficiary confirmed, emergency contact confirmed. I cancel Spotify family and switch to solo. I remove the last shared device from my Netflix and mark the old apartment as do not ship. I schedule a USPS hold for any late packages and reply to the landlord with my forwarding address. It's all boring. Boring is freedom. The calls change tone quickly. First, a string of "we need to talk." Then, "Why would you embarrass me?" Then, the voice memo. She cries in paragraphs and accuses me of twisting her words. I keep the phone on the counter and finish labeling the boxes I didn't bring. Her, donate, lease stuff. In the silence, I hear myself think again. I don't post our history. I don't list receipts from comedy clubs or late-night taps. I don't mention the rocket emoji. Public exposure, to me, means exposure of the truth that's already public. Her sentence. My sentence. The rest stays where it belongs, in a folder for a lawyer I may never need. In the afternoon, I send one group text to the 4 people who actually matter to me. My brother, my mom, 2 close friends. I'm moved. I'm okay. Not taking sides. If she reaches out, keep it neutral. They reply with thumbs ups and offers to help haul a mattress. I pick a time for Saturday and go back to work from the little table by the window. Small ironies stack themselves without any help from me. She texts about the Wi-Fi login while I'm canceling the bill split she ignored for 2 months. She posts a quote about "silence is violence," and then goes silent when the utilities invoice hits her inbox with her own email on the line. I pour tap water into a mason jar and feel more hydrated than I have in a month. Evening comes, and with it the inevitable knock at the apartment door I no longer share. It's not her. It's the property manager from our old place confirming pickup time for the key I slid under. I thank him. He thanks me for the clean exit. This is what accountability sounds like: paper and keys and timestamps, not a fight in a kitchen with an audience of phones. Back on Facebook, notifications are a city skyline, impressive from a distance, irrelevant up close. I don't scroll. I open my Notes app and write down 3 lines. Cancel renter's insurance at old address. Buy a bed frame. Close the loop with landlord once deposit is prorated. This is the masculine part no one makes movies about. The moving, the sorting, the emails, the refusal to write a 700-word comment explaining why respecting someone includes respecting yourself. Around 9, she finally writes a sentence that tells the truth without meaning to. You didn't have to make it public. I type one sentence back. You already did. Then I archive the thread. The studio smells like cardboard and detergent. I sit on the floor, back against the wall, and watch the plants split the last light of the day into green. Across town, her post keeps collecting reactions from people who weren't there, who never saw the slow leaks that brought us to noon today. They don't need to. The people who count already know the only 2 sentences that matter. Her line: if he trusted me, he wouldn't care who I text. Mine: trusting you to enjoy your new single life. That's the whole story anyone outside the key ring needs to see. The rest, I'll carry forward, lighter, labeled, and mine. Silence does its job faster than speeches. After I shared her post and moved out, I set my phone to Do Not Disturb and put it face down on the counter of a room that smelled like new carpet and laundry soap. The first hour, she sent 13 messages. We need to talk. Why would you do this publicly? Call me. The second hour, the messages lengthened into paragraphs, then into voice notes that started angry and ended watery. I washed the single pan I brought and set it to dry on a paper towel. The ripples hit the social circle almost immediately. Mutuals texted the safest sentence they could think of: you okay? I replied once to the people who matter, my brother and 2 close friends, with the same line: I'm moved. I'm okay. Not trading stories. Logistics only. Everyone else got archived. I wasn't going to manage anyone's curiosity or her image. That bill was past due and not mine to pay. She pivoted in public the way people do when a story leaves their hands. A new post arrived by evening. Men who can't handle boundaries will call them betrayal. Protect your peace. Comments were supportive until one of her own friends wrote, "Girl, but you made it public first," and unliked her earlier status. The thread got quiet. If you listen closely, you can hear when a room shifts from performance to doubt. The boring adult parts landed like clockwork, which is why I love them. The property manager confirmed my key drop, noted the apartment was left clean, and attached a deposit timeline with a prorate. I confirmed my forwarding address to the P.O. box, moved the last utilities into 2 invoices with her email on one and mine on the other, and set up autopay for the studio. HR sent back a form letter, emergency contact updated. It wasn't revenge. It was relief measured in checkboxes. Her cycle ran the predictable loop: anger, bargaining, anger again, then promises she had no way to keep. The anger version said I humiliated her and made people think things. The bargaining version floated couples therapy and resetting the vibe. The second anger accused me of financial abuse because I split the bills into equal halves. The promises promised transparency, then added conditions. I should delete my share. I should post a clarification. I should protect her from her own sentence. I stayed unreachable in the ways that counted. I left one channel open: email, for property and bills. Everything else went on mute with a simple rule set. If it wasn't about keys, invoices, or pickup times, it didn't exist. I wrote her one short note: you can collect your remaining items Saturday, 10 to 12 from the building office. I won't be present. Bring ID. They'll have a list. It read like a logistics memo because that's what grown-ups sound like when they've stopped trying to win a debate. The whispers turned solid without me moving a muscle. A mutual sent a photo from a Tuesday show across town. Booth in the back, 2 highball glasses, her profile leaning in. I saved it to paper trail with the same neutrality I'd bring to a receipt. I didn't need it to justify anything. My decision wasn't built on a picture. It was built on weeks of air too thin to breathe. A smaller consequence, but real: her circle lost volume. The friend who lectured me under my running post deleted her comment. Another posted a story about accountability that wasn't tagged but was obvious. A coworker who used to "Yes, bestie" Every caption switched to likes without words. I made dinner. The plant in the window liked the light. She tried proximity next. The old apartment doorbell lit up at 6:40 p.m. on Thursday. Not my problem anymore. The manager texted to ask if I expected anyone. I wrote back, no. Please direct to email. She left a shoebox at the front desk labeled Ryan. Inside, 2 hoodies, a stack of Polaroids, a dried flower from a brewery date. I put the hoodies in the wash, placed the Polaroids in a manila envelope, wrote return to sender on the front, and added it to Saturday's pickup list. History belongs where it was kept, on her shelf. Damage control took a weirder turn by the weekend. Her cousin called my mom. That used to work on me. It didn't now. My mother texted, I told her to talk to you directly. That's what dignity looks like in older hands. No triangulation or side deals. In private, the tone kept morphing. One message claimed the post wasn't about us specifically, just men in general. Another said she'd block anyone who disrespected me. The last one offered a list of concessions like a coupon sheet. She'd share passwords. She'd let me see her phone whenever I wanted. She'd stop going to Circle. It read like a clearance sale on something that already closed. I didn't reply. The point was to stop playing. The studio developed a rhythm that didn't ask me to explain itself. Early run, cheap eggs and a cast iron, 8 clean hours of sleep on a mattress on the floor. No performance or audience. The loudest thing in the room was my own breathing. Lions don't announce that they're lions. They just live in their body without apology. On Saturday morning, the building office handed her the envelope, the Polaroids, and a printed copy of the invoice with her share highlighted. The staff kept it civil. She sent me a picture of the total with the caption, "This is petty." I typed one line. That's the electricity, water, and trash for a home you lived in. Then I archived the thread. You can be direct without being dragged. By Sunday, she pushed the final lever, nostalgia. A photo from our first fall together with a caption about love being a practice. I scrolled past and cleaned my single bathroom. Nostalgia is an edit. Practice is laundry. 2 friends asked if I was open to talking later, after things calmed down. I said no to both. Because people confuse delayed decisions with mature ones. Mine wasn't delayed. It was built carefully over lists, locks, and a quiet exit. You can't calm down what's already settled. The practical consequences kept lining up like dominoes. The deposit from the old place hit my account minus a fair cleaning fee I hadn't fought. I bought a bed frame and a lamp. I put my brother down for a spare key. I deleted the shared grocery list on my phone and made a new one that had only what I'd actually eat on it. Peace is sometimes a more accurate shopping list. Her last attempt came at midnight Sunday in a voice memo I didn't open. The transcript preview gave the shape. More about perception, less about action, more about how we look, less about what she did. I tapped keep transcript/delete audio and went to sleep. Here's what consequence looks like when you stop negotiating with reality. The audience shrinks, the story simplifies, the invoices land, the keys change hands. The door you close becomes a wall someone else can't climb with hashtags. She cycled through tears, bargains, anger, and promises, none of which opened my door or my phone. Meanwhile, my life got smaller in the best way. A room, a window, a plant that turns toward light, because that is what plants do when they're safe. By Monday morning, my calendar said week 1. Hers can say whatever it wants. I'm not in it to read. The first real quiet arrived Monday at 6:12 a.m. A city block hadn't woken up yet, but my studio had. Coffee, a run, a shower where no one pounded the door for a charger they'd lost. My calendar said week 1 like a fresh tab. I stopped bracing for pings. I stopped checking if my silence was being received the right way. Respect isn't a conversation. It's the rules you live by when no one's watching. The last logistics took half a morning. I closed the joint streaming profiles out of habit more than malice. I confirmed the utilities split had posted 2 invoices, her name on hers, mine on mine. I sent the landlord the forwarding address he needed for the small deposit remainder. I updated the bank on my P.O. box and set a sunset date to revisit it in 90 days. The boring stack made something clear. My life runs better when I'm the only one accountable for it. She kept the door open from her side, like leaving a porch light on might cancel the storm. 2 texts, coffee this week? To talk. We can start over. I replied with the same sentence I'd used since the day I moved. Email for logistics only. She tried a new angle. Her friend DM'd that she was doing the work and just wanted me to hear her out. People love a redemption arc if they don't have to sit through the credits. I didn't slam history shut. I returned it. On Tuesday, I carried the manila envelope with the Polaroids to the old building office again. The clerk smiled like he'd seen this before. I signed the log, wrote pick up by Friday on the label, and left. No note inside. The past doesn't need a thesis to be over. It needs a drawer. A couple of mutuals floated the same soft landing. Maybe meet once for closure. Closure is a story you write to make noise stop. I already had silence. I told them I wished her well, and I meant it in the clean way, no heat. If she finds a man who thinks respect means never asking questions while she writes riddles online, that's their contract. Mine is plain language. Work got simpler. My capacity went up when I stopped spending it on interpretation. I was on time to every stand-up. I made a Gantt chart for the quarter, and nobody rolled their eyes at me for making a Gantt chart. At lunch, I ate what I'd actually bought instead of splitting appetizers neither of us wanted. Progress measured itself in leftovers I actually ate. She sent one long email with bullet points, apologies threaded with disclaimers, truth cushioned by context. Half read like press release, half like a prayer. I skimmed until I hit the sentence that mattered. I shouldn't have posted that. A period, not a comma. Good. Then came the conditions, if I would just pin a new post, if I would retract, if I would help reframe. That was the pivot point. I typed 3 lines. I accept the apology. I won't participate in PR. Please keep communications to logistics. Then I added a filter that routed anything without the words bill, key, or invoice into an archive. Boundaries that use software don't need follow-up texts. The circle never messaged me directly again. Without me in it, her audience shrank to the people still clapping. One of them posted an accountability quote over a sunset. Another switched to private. I didn't victory lap. In every story, there's an unphotographed middle where someone changes a password, cancels a subscription, and goes to bed early. That's where I lived. It was better than applause. There's a myth that strength shows up as a speech. Mine showed up in small assignments I gave myself and completed. Buy a bed frame. Hang a curtain. Register the car on time. Call my dad back. Say yes to Mark's pickup basketball invite. Stop checking a doorbell camera I didn't own anymore. None of it would impress a crowd. All of it built a house I could live in. The last bill hit on the 30th. She paid it within an hour and sent a screenshot like proof of worth. I didn't respond. Paying your half of the lights isn't romance or repentance. It's a receipt. I set an auto response for her address that said received and left it alone. That single word gave both of us what we said we wanted, clarity. I changed 2 things on my phone. First, I edited her contact to her full legal name and moved the thread to an admin folder with the dentist and DMV. Second, I disabled read receipts for everyone. People argue when they can see your silence. I prefer mine to be a room with the lights off and the door gently closed. There was one accidental crossing. A week later, I ran into her outside the co-op, both of us reaching for carts. She wore the necklace I didn't recognize from months ago. We said hello like neighbors. She started a sentence with I've been thinking, and I ended it with take care. The whole exchange took 12 seconds. It felt like moving through a draft in a hallway. Brief, cool, and done. I bought a desk and a lamp. A friend helped me carry them up 3 flights. We drank bad beer on the floor after and didn't talk about her. He asked what I wanted next. I said, routine. He toasted to routine like it was champagne. He understood. A final note went out from me, short and kind, to the 4 people who matter. No contact going forward. No sides. If you're stuck in the middle, step out. Nobody argued. It's amazing how much friction disappears when you're consistent more than loud. The past month left me one line of doubt I'm okay owning. I should have tightened my boundaries sooner. That's it. Not a thesis. I didn't fail to keep her. She chose her way of living in public while asking me to fund the privacy. I chose another. So I did one clean action to close the loop. I opened Facebook, went to the post where I'd shared her sentence, and turned off comments. Not deleted, just done. The fact could stand without being fed. Then I did one quiet thing for myself. I watered the plant, set the cup in the sink, locked my door, and slept 8 hours in a room where everything stayed where I left it, including my respect.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.